Hi everybody, I am back with a video. This video is about a video I was watching from Lisa Cabero. And she was talking about this grass I never heard of, but have seen. It's all over my yard. I even got my little grass scissors. I would go out in my yard, and because these are grass I've never really seen before last year and this year, well, basically last year, and this is a whole new summer. So I haven't seen them for maybe the last couple of years. If they're different grass, I would go out and I would cut, you know, cut the grass and I would put them in some dirt and bring it in my house for a little while, just to bring nature inside. And I've done that with several different types of wild grasses. Well, this grass right here is one of them. And from Lisa Cabero's video, apparently this grass is similar to poison ivy that a lot of people is allergic to. And an experience I had when we first bought this property 21 years ago, and the surveyor was he was looking for the stake between my property and the neighbor to the left of my property. But we ended up never finding that stake because I didn't know where it was, so I was just out here looking. And he was telling me what it would look like. So while we going into our woods back there, not really a woods, but woods back there, which is a big part of the yard. That used to be the big part of the yard that would be cut. But because the original owner, rented the property out, whoever was here before us, didn't choose to cut that much yard. So all of that back there grew into a woods again. Pine trees and oak trees and whatever. So while we're back there looking for this stake, he says, do I see the poison ivy? I'm like, what's poison? I said, well, I knew what poison ivy was. I said, no, what does it look like? He says, you're standing in it. So I'm reaching down, looking at it. He said, that's it right there. I'm literally touching it. It's not. I'm like, he says it's poison ivy, and what it does is makes you itch. I said, oh. I said, well, it don't seem to be bothering me. He said, well, I'm not going anywhere near it. So he scooted back to his car and left. So I left outside. I'm looking at this stuff, touching it and whatever. So I'm going in the house waiting to be itchy with, I guess, whatever poison ivy people get when they're allergic to poison ivy. I never got it. I said, oh, so apparently I'm not allergic to it. Because it never bothered me then. 21 years later ever. So, with all that said, I'm thinking this weed right here they call pigweed, hogweed. Never heard of pigweed and hogweed ever before in my life until this article come out. Apparently, pigweed, hogweed is a wild plant. According to Lisa Cabero, in her research, come from the Caucasus Mountains. And it was taken from there, I guess, to England, UK, whatever, where this particular picture is taken as a plant ornament. Like we have lots. I got a plant ornament in here right now. This little, I don't know what it is. I don't know what name these plants are, but I have 3 different ones in my house. I just like plants in the house. To get that nature oxygen we share. I give them, they give me oxygen. I give them carbon monoxide. That type relationship I find out about parents is why I formed a green thumb after my mother and grow plants. Now, this hog plant, she says it's growing all over the UK where this young man is. He goes out in there, he goes out into his yard, This teenager goes in his yard. What teenagers do is you go in the yard. All of a sudden, he breaks out into these red spots and blisters. Apparently, he's allergic to something. So he goes in the house, so is his mother. He takes him to the doctor and find out that he has an allergic reaction to hogweed. Mother never heard of hogweed in her life. Neither has he. So the research on the hogweed is what it does, and I have pictures here to show what it does to certain people. And this is another picture of the hogweed in the UK. I think that's where she got this picture from. This weed is all in my yard, and I cuts it off at the end down there, and I plan to bring it in the house. And if you know, when you bring live plants in water or dirt or whatever, they die. You expect it to live a week or two and die. This plant never, it never died. It didn't turn a brown color and die like I expected to do. So after a while, it's been here a while, I throw it out. Then I bring in another piece. Or I have some other ones up here that I expect to die. They are like these brown little wheat-like plant. I brought those in and some other ones. That's 2 years ago. I still have them up there. And they're still brown. They're not dead. They're not even in the dirt. I had them in a jar. And they're like dried plants, fake plants, but they're not fake. They're actual live plants. I got out of my yard that I've never seen them before last year and year. It's different. I cut them off and bring them in my house. 2 years later, they're still in here. They're not shed nor anything. They're just there, knocked down. Anyway, and I think I have another. And I got some into two Swan Lake Gardens, and I got some of the pine cones. And where the leaves fell off the different types of plants they have there. I walked around, picked them up off of the ground, put them in things. I still have them. They are like dried fake plants, but they're actual live plants. I picked them off the ground from Swan Lake Garden, decorated those in a cute little it's like a water canister, but it's a vase-like thing. You drop it, it breaks. But it's actually like a little handle wonder can we water flowers. I got them in there. They don't shed or anything. They just like those when I picked them up off the ground. The brown one is still there. A year later. With all of that said, apparently it doesn't bother certain people, and I'm one of those people. Anyway, let's move on to the picture of what this plant does to certain people. This is the young man that this is what happened to his skin. He has these red bumps all over his skin. And this is the blisters on his skin. And this is another picture of what happens to his skin when he comes in contact with this plant. Now, with all that said, for what I understand from Lisa Caballero's research and what she found out about the whole plant, and for other people that are affected negatively, adversely by this plant, what it does is, from her research, medically, what happens is when certain people come in contact with this plant, the I guess the juices or the whatever oils or whatever comes from the plant gets on their skin, and when they come in contact with the sun, contact with the sun, their skin is burnt and causes this to happen to their skin. Now, we've been hearing. Now, what this looked like is, this basically looked like chicken pox to me, because when my kids were young, they got chicken pox. My son, the oldest, he was like 8 months old, and I went to visit his cousins, and the grandmother, and the mother of the child that had chicken pox never said a word about the child having chicken pox. But when we got there, so the baby was like, I think their baby was a little bit older than my son, probably like a year or two. He had chicken pox. Now my 8-month-old baby, playing with the kids all in the thing. But I didn't see anything on here, and that's because he was in the end stage of it where I heard it's most contagious. And my poor little baby was like, these spots look like this, took him to the doctor. Like the doctor says, nothing you can do, just wear off. So it wore off. And a few years later, his other 3 siblings, 2 girls and a boy, they formed chicken pox from school. But because he already had it as a baby, he didn't catch it. So I ended up feeding them herb teas and whatever to get the fever to break. And I was going to learn from the first one, to get the fever to break. This time I heard about the herbs and the healings and the remedies and all of that. So that's how I push it through the other 3. It works. And a particular herb called sage is what break the fever from my one of my daughter, who the fever took longer for her to recover from it compared to the other 2. So I gave her 7 different. I would boil with tea all day long, read back the eating book, look up teas and see what it does, and I would boil it and never have her drink it. And I think around the 4th tea, her fever broke. She went to school the next day. So that's what these looks like to me. And that's what there was on here. They're like water blisters, they burst. But HogWeed caused this to happen to this young teenager. So, and I know these children didn't come in. I know the oldest one didn't come in contact with no weed, because he came in contact with his cousins. And the younger ones, they were in school, so I doubt if they came in contact with weed, because a lot of kids in the school had it. So where they got it from, I don't know. But it was contagious between them. So I just thought this was a very interesting video to share, because this plant grows heartily in my yard. Just come up out of nowhere one day. Out of nowhere, the plant just there. I ain't know where it come from. The plant just there in my backyard. I find it very interesting. So I went out there, cut it, and brought it in my house. And I probably didn't even die in here. I ended up throwing it out. Could have stayed green the whole time. So it never withered or nothing. So it's very, very, very interesting to me how plants just I've never seen on the earth. Like my husband was talking about these plants. He said he worked the farm with his dad. He grew up on the farm. And he said he's seen this plant, and he showed me several hogweed. He heard of it. I never heard of it. And he said it didn't affect anybody back then, at least not them. Because he said, because they worked in it. But he said the ones that they were working with, they would walk through it, but they never worked in it. So I guess he said that's why they didn't affect them. Maybe there was no issue with the plant and certain people back then. I think it's the plant in connection with them and the sun. Because like she said in the video, when come in contact with the sun, they break out in these blisters. So, for what I understand, in the reality that we are living in now, the sun is different. The sun is hotter, it's bright white. It's not, I mean, it's burning hot. Burning hot. But it doesn't burn me. My copper tone melanated skin, I go out every day. I'm just drawn to go outside, sit under my shaded area. Sometimes I would put it back so I would be in direct sun. Or I would have it a little far so I would get the sun, but it wouldn't be blazing down on me. It's based on how I'm feeling at the moment. I get really hot. Then I go inside. I'm not affected at all. All my skin does is get darker, like my son said. He has a friend. He said he can't be in the sun for 30 minutes. And he says his skin blisters. And my son looked at his friend and said, "What? That got to be horrible." He said, "We go in the sun, we just get darker." He said, "It got to be horrible to go in the sun and break out in blisters and burn like that after 30 minutes. My son was horrible. And he was telling me the story. He said, "That was horrible." He said, he looked at his friend and said, "I can't even imagine that." He said, "That got to be horrible." We as melanated people cannot imagine. Like my son say, we go to the beach and we sit in the sun for 6, 8 hours. He said, we just get darker. But his friend who can't sit in the sun 30 minutes with him starts burning. And I heard about, I think on her channel, they had one of her lives, they're talking about this guy said he was drinking martini and he burnt drinking martini. And then I heard you put lemon and lime juice on their skin, they go out, they burn. I never heard such a thing. We are living in a time with things never heard of. We as children grew up. Our children grew up in the yard. The only thing bothered us was the allergies. Sinuses closed up, get sick like that. But other than that, we never heard of plants causing us to have a horrible allergic reaction like these blisters here. Like the blisters that this young man is facing. And the sun burning us to this point. So for what I understand, it's the radiation from the sun that is damaging certain people's skin and causing them to burn. These blisters now, this blister looked like a blister that I got when I was in the kitchen cooking. And that hot grease hit my hand. And I got a blister look exactly like this. Yes, so hot stuff burned. But that was because the hot water. I think water had burned me, but I don't think water made blisters, but it was hot grease. Frying chicken, which I hadn't done in. I don't think I fried chicken in like 25 years. But when I do fried chicken, I fry the chicken, and then I fry the chicken to a certain point, and then I don't have very much grease in it. Then I pour water in it, and I smother fry it. Smother the chicken with the gravy and the brown gravy, because I make all my gravy from the meat itself, which I'm a vegan now, but that's how I did. And I just did that the other day for my grandson and my husband. Took some fried chicken I got from the Piggly Wiggly, put my seasonings in it like I did when the kids were young, called my Italian, it's my Italian smothered chicken. Because I would have different seasoning in it, and I made sure I put that Italian seasoning in it with some other different herbs and seasoning. Stuff that I just created in my mind, to the taste that to get this particular taste. But this, I thought it was an interesting video to share with you. In my perspective on this situation that certain people are experiencing. It looks like chicken pox, 'cause that's how my 33-year-old chicken pox looked when he was 18 months old. That's how his chicken pox looked. That's how his other three siblings that came after him, once they got to primary school, chicken pox looked. So I don't know. But like he said, he didn't have it before he went outside. So weird things are going on in the earth, and I think it's due to the sun and all of these new species of plants that just coming up out of the ground and popping up everywhere. According to this bird, they have a law where it's unlawful to plant to grow this plant in the wild. Who would grow this plant in the wild intentionally knowing that it harms certain people? I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine that thought process. First of all, you gotta know that this plant does something to certain people to even intentionally grow it in the wild. Apparently, this is something that happens in England, in the UK, that happens over there, because in America, we never heard such a thing. But anyway, that's it for this video, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.